YaBoiGrinz and YourPalBixxy are best friends. They like playing video games. But Bam Stoner gets jealous since he has no friends. So he interrupts their fun game by insulting them and making fun of them. YaBoiGrinz and YourPalBixxy are confused that someone would be so rude to them when they're having a good time. They ask Bam Stoner why he's being such a jerk, but he doesn't answer. He instead leaves and cries into his pillow. AstroHype666 was there the whole time. No one really noticed because he was so quiet. But AstroHype666 cheers up YaBoiGrinz and YourPalBixxy by playing some Call of Duty. Dusty Estepp even joins them on the couch and helps them shoot people in the head with an assault rifle. YaBoiGrinz and YourPalBixxy walk away feeling better now that their friend is back. Dusty Estepp watches from afar as they leave and smiles. He then starts shooting his gun out of anger. AstroHype666 is sitting alone at home waiting for his date with the girl of his dreams. When he hears a knock on the door, he answers it to find a man who looks nothing like him. Who are you?" says AstroHype666. The guy responds by saying, "I am the hottest man alive." And then he pushes AstroHype666 against the wall and kisses him passionately. After the kiss, the two start making out again. Dusty Estepp bursts through the door and stops this madness. "Dusty Estepp, what are you doing?" asks AstroHype666. Dusty Estepp tells AstroHype666 that he is going to get some sleep in his own bed tonight. AstroHype666 tries to convince Dusty Estepp that he is the hottest man alive and that he can't just let him go. Dusty Estepp pushes AstroHype666 down on the ground and throws a large punch to his face. As AstroHype666 lies on the floor, he looks up and sees his dream girl. She has blonde hair with blue eyes and is wearing a tight pink shirt and leather pants. She kneels next to AstroHype666 and touches his cheek and says, "I love you." AstroHype666 looks at her and says, "You don't know me. I'm not the hottest man alive." They both laugh and she walks away. AstroHype666 gets up off the floor and dusts himself off. He then goes outside and finds the most beautiful woman he ever laid eyes on. Her skin is so soft and smooth, and her long blonde hair glistens in the moonlight. She wears a short white dress with blue flowers all over it. She kneels before AstroHype666 and puts her hand on his cheek. He looks at her and says, "Hello, may I please speak with you?" She then replies to him, "Who are you?" "I do not know you." AstroHype666 says to her, "I am the hottest man alive, and you're the girl of my dreams." He then takes her hand, and they walk off together. Dusty Estepp sits in his bedroom and watches this happen. His heart aches for the loss of his friend AstroHype666 and the girl of his dreams. He thinks about how much better life could have been if only he had kept his mouth shut. He then looks at the camera and says, "And that's how I met your mama." The end, nigger. The girl of AstroHype666's dreams is a model named Bella. She lives in a huge mansion with her boyfriend. One day, while she is walking through the hallway, she notices Dusty Estepp looking at her picture on the wall. She turns around and confronts him. "What are you doing here?" asks Bella. Dusty Estepp then says, "Well, I guess you already know the story, but I'll tell you anyway. I came to this mansion to get some rest after a long day working. But as soon as I got here, I saw a picture of you on the wall and fell in love. I immediately went downstairs and told the maids, who escorted me to your room. And as soon as I knocked on the door, you opened it and we began making out. You were very gentle and sweet with me. I thought you might be the one." Bella then says, "Yeah, right, you're lying. If you knew anything about me, you would know that I am an angel sent to earth to bring peace and joy to all mankind. How dare you claim that you love me when you've never even met me?" Dusty Estepp then says, "Well, I'm sorry to say this, but you are the girl of my dreams, and I will stop at nothing until you give yourself to me." Bella then replies, "Oh yeah? Well, you're gonna have to fight me first." A short while later, Bella and her boyfriend, Jacob, come in and see what the commotion is. Bella screams, "I think I'm in love with this guy. I want to marry him." Jacob then says, "I see that you found your soulmate, honey." Bella begins crying and runs upstairs to her room. Jacob then looks at Dusty Estepp and says I should thank you for helping to break up my marriage. Dusty Estepp is then arrested and taken away in handcuffs. Dusty Estepp is standing before the judge. He is sentenced to 10 years in prison. He then goes to his cell and writes a letter to his friends. Dear YaBoiGrinz and YourPalBixxy, I hope you guys are well. I'm sure everyone has heard the news by now. I was found guilty for the murder of AstroHype666 and the rape of Bella. This is really hard to take because I did not do any of these things. Just remember that I am innocent and that I will prove my innocence sooner or later. If you could send a few dollars, I would appreciate it. It costs $10 per week for my meals, and I don't know how much longer I can last without food. YaBoiGrinz, I was thinking that maybe we should all reunite after I get out of prison. What do ya think? Your friend, Dusty Estepp. 1 year later, Dusty Estepp has successfully escaped from prison. He returns home to find YaBoiGrinz and YourPalBixxy waiting for him with smiles on their faces. He gives them each a big hug and says I'm back to save the day. They look at him and say we were just about to leave to go rob a bank. Can you help us out? Dusty Estepp then looks at them and says absolutely. What do you need? YaBoiGrinz then says I know how to rob a bank. All we need is someone to drive the getaway car. Dusty Estepp then says well, I've always wanted to learn how to drive a getaway car. Let me show you how it's done. They then proceed to teach him how to drive a getaway car. After many failed attempts, he finally manages to drive the getaway car to the bank. Once there, YaBoiGrinz opens the door and jumps into the passenger seat. He then puts on a mask and points his gun at the clerk. YaBoiGrinz says, give us all your money or I'll blow your head off. The clerk then says, but I can't open the safe. The combination is written down in a book. YaBoiGrinz then says, well, I'm gonna kill you anyway. He then pulls the trigger, but the gun doesn't fire. YaBoiGrinz then says damn, this thing won't shoot. Dusty Estepp then steps up and says why don't you try putting some bullets in it? YaBoiGrinz then looks at him with disgust and says you're a pervert. Dusty Estepp then takes the gun and puts 2 bullets in it. Then he aims the gun at YaBoiGrinz's head and pulls the trigger. YaBoiGrinz dodges the bullet and knocks out Dusty Estepp with the back of his gun. Put him in the car, says YaBoiGrinz to YourPalBixxy. They then all get into the getaway car and speed off towards the sunset.